Here we go again.
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the beach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before. Movie Reviews Connections in Mind. Gladiator II is the long-awaited sequel to the 2000s Gladiator. It is once again directed by Ridley Scott, and this time around stars Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, among a whole host of others. And this film takes place approximately 18 years after the events of the original Gladiator. Rome is under the rule of twin emperors who are furiously expanding the empire with a merciless fist. And when a young soldier is captured and turned into and made into become a gladiator, he must seize his destiny and balance his desires with the desires of those who are plotting on multiple sides of him in the power struggle that is ancient Rome. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Gladiator 2. Will be certain other spoilers as well. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts first and foremost, though, but just so you know, there will be spoilers later on this review. So, first things first, let's get into some spoiler-free talk on Gladiator 2. Is it a good action movie? Is it a worthy sequel to the original? Is it a good theater experience? I would say, as far as an action movie goes, a period action movie, Ridley Scott has said numerous times he's not really concerned about historical accuracy. If you're going into this movie expecting, pure historical accuracy in regards to ancient Rome, you're not going to get it. I mean, if you saw the original Gladiator, you didn't get that either. So, par for the course there. There's a great action in this movie. It's great to see these kinds of fight scenes on the big screen. Booming audio and all, because there's some great, impact sounds that really, thump you in the chest on that. If you see it on IMAX, all the better for it. But is this a worthy sequel to the original? I would say yes and no, because where I think this movie works best is when it's a continuation of the story. And where I think this movie works the least is when it's a continuation of the story. What do I mean by that? Well, there are certain plot choices character choices that are made that I feel are a detractor from, or distraction from what could have been a really solid follow-up to the original. Because, a lot of these legacy sequels, that come out, 20 plus years after the original movie that, captured everyone, it's got a lot to live up to. And this one, I think at best, it meets expectations, in a lot of ways. Like, the action scenes, like I said, they're great. The action scenes in the original Gladiator are great, but they don't surpass the original Gladiator. Even, they're doing stuff different, like you see in the trailers. They staged a mock naval battle in the Colosseum. Yes, that's supposed to be bigger, but it really isn't when you get down to it. This movie follows a lot of the same story beats as the original. You got the young gladiator who was, not supposed to, be captured at some points and made to become a gladiator. They don't want to be fighting there. And they go through the same pace. We got to rally the other slaves, gladiators to work together. You've got fighting the seasoned veteran gladiator. You got the emperor doing the whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing. You got all that going on. And the gladiator taskmaster, running things from behind the scenes, So you got all these story beats that it's repeating, and even certain shots are repeated. You've got if the original Gladiator had the shot of of Maximus, dual wielding swords and decapitating a guy. Well, we got to do that again here. It's like it felt like almost an obligation when it feels like almost an obligation to repeat the crowd favorite shots in the original. That's where I feel like this movie is really let down. And a great example of this is in the very beginning there is a the title sequence where the credits are rolling. You get a really beautifully done, I think, stylized. If you see the kind of animated chalk drawing kind of style of the Ridley Scott's production logo, the Scott-free production logo, it's kind of the same style where they go through a recap of the original movie, the key plot points, and that's great. If they had kept that the only recap of the original movie, it was just that, and then the rest of the movie was its own kind of just continuation of that story, then that would be just fantastic. But unfortunately, this movie feels like it has to tie in integrally to the original movie. And when it does that, I feel like you lose something there. Like there was something interesting with the story, and I'm trying to be a little cagey because I don't want to spoil anything in this section until we get to the spoiler part. But there's stuff in here that if it was just just an ordinary person, let's say, going through it, then this story could have held more weight. But they keep heavily hinting time and again that this person is something more. And for the whole time, the first, I think they reveal this twist in probably around the halfway point, maybe a little earlier. And the whole time prior to that, I'm like, oh, please don't make it that. Please don't make it that. And when I find out that, no, it is exactly what you think it is, I'm like, seriously? Did we have no imagination whatsoever beyond that? We had 20 plus years to come up with a proper sequel to this. Do we really have no other ideas as to where to go from here? And sadly, I think that's the main drawback of the sequel. That's what drags it way down. The visuals, stunning, I think. The action scenes, pretty spectacular. The actors, for the most part, are doing a pretty decent job. I mean, Denzel Washington in particular, I'll single out because, it's hard to go wrong with Denzel Washington at this point. He just does a fantastic job as the slave master, the gladiator wrangler, or whatever. And, his power plays going on in behind the scenes there. He does a fantastic job in this. But when, this movie feels compelled to make references to the original movie, to heavy-handedly, hammering references to the original, even bringing back a couple of characters from the original, and it's like, seriously, why do we need to do this? And I just felt, by the end of the movie, I just felt like, okay, I don't feel like a sense of accomplishment by the end of this movie the way that I do when I rewatched the original Gladiator prior to seeing this one. And while yes, the original Gladiator does drag a little bit in places, by the end I felt a certain amount of accomplishment. By the end of this movie, I felt like, okay, well, that's it. That's where we're ending. Okay, cool. I feel like nothing really has changed since the previous movie, but whatever. So, yeah, overall, I would say it's a okay movie. It's a decent movie, but it could have been great. It just got held back a lot by feeling compelled to tie itself so strongly to the original. So if I was going to give Gladiator II a letter grade, I would say this is a solid B. It could have been an A, but like I said, all these other things just really dragged it down for me. So those are my main spoiler-free thoughts on Gladiator II. Now let's get into some spoiler talk as certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. So, again, I know, Gladiator, again, it's a historical event, this whole Colosseum fight, it's been around for thousands of years. But when they drag out the guy riding a rhino, like a rhino jockey charging these various gladiators, again, maybe just me growing up with this, but I couldn't help but think of the Colosseum fight in episode 2, Star Wars episode 2, Attack of the Clones, with the various, fighting the various alien animals or whatever. So that felt a lot very similar to how that fight was staged. And again, it's a historical context. We know that gladiators fought certain animals, maybe not a rhino, but that sort of thing kind of did happen. That was just kind of the image that came to my mind in that, and it helps that was probably the best scene in Attack of the Clones. So good thing that it felt very right in this movie as well. And then, but also, like I said, I was being really cagey about this in the spoiler-free section in case you hadn't seen this yet. But the Paul Mescal, his character, we introduced him as the name Hanno. By the halfway point, we realized no, he is the grown-up child Lucius from the original Gladiator, Lucius Aurelius, and he is. It turns out his father is actually Maximus. And, looking back, since I rewatched the original Gladiator before this, like, okay, maybe they were hinting at that in the original, but I don't know if they were really, really hinting at that. But, it just felt so shoehorned in. It's like, why? Why did couldn't we have just had this random guy from a place that Rome conquered and used the example of Maximus as inspiration to take up, what he started to restore Rome to, the dream of Rome, Rome for the people, that what he was talking about. Use that as inspiration, but tell his own story. No, we have to tie it intrinsically into Maximus' story. It's like, why I thought his story was pretty much complete. But, whatever. It struck me very much like the reveal in Pirates of the Caribbean 5 and then Tell No Tales when the girl, I forget the girl's name, but she's like, oh, she's actually the daughter of Barbossa. It's revealed at the end. It's like, does that really play that big a deal in the grand scheme of things? Sure, it's a twist, it's related to a legacy character, but does it really add anything per se? I mean, really, just having Lucius, his father, actually be Maximus really add anything to the story? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's just how I thought this was. That just felt really underwhelming to me. So, and really, I gotta say, the legacy returning characters, you have Lucius's mother, Lucilla, the sister of, daughter of Marcus Aurelius, sister of Commodus. It's like she's still kind of there. She's, they're holding her, even though it's like you have the two emperors doing their own thing. It's like, oh yeah, she's here too. And it's like, okay. I mean, I get the power play behind why they would, link their legacy with Marcus Aurelius's, but it's like when she ultimately dies, arrow to the chest or whatever. It's like it goes by so quick, and it's kind of underwhelming, honestly. And it's like, well, you kind of breeze past that plot point. It's like, why was she even here to begin with? Like, I felt more connection with Pedro Pascal's general character than did with her. And it's like, again, who knows what the writing plot process was, but it felt like her character was kind of included as like, oh no, we have to have this character in here. But it's like, all right, there's not really a need for this character to be in here, but all right. And then she was kind of there for most of it, and then when she dies, it's like, oh, bummer. It's like, I don't know what they thought that was going to be a huge emotional moment. It certainly wasn't in my eyes, but overall, what did you think of Gladiator 2? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for Moana 2, which comes out in a couple of days here, this Thanksgiving week. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.